Right, so the reason for this video is I've just sat there and watched. I was just minding my business, you know how it goes, doom scrolling, and I come across a video, and in this video, you know, you can't make sense of something to the point where you kind of need general consensus. I thought it was a very interesting topic, so I'm watching this thing and I'm gobsmacked. Do you know what I mean? But what it actually is that this year it's an AirTag, right? And the scenario is the father was, for whatever reason, doing his daughter's hair, and when he undid one of her braids, embedded in the braid was an AirTag. So I'm like, wow. There's no audio for this video. It's got music playing over it, etc, etc. So I went to the comment section and I'm looking at the range of responses from people, and I'm just like, people can flipping pretty much justify anything to themselves, is the conclusion I've come to. They literally can. I deep this. If your co-parent is such a risk here that you feel the need to embed an AirTag into your child's hair, that's pretty much almost, that's as close as getting your kid to swallow the flipping AirTag. Let's face it, that AirTag was not supposed to be discovered. Yeah? So I could understand if it was in like a ruck, you know, school backpack or some shit like that. I get that. It might have just been an oversight that, you know, it was left in the bag. Oops, I forgot. Possibly. At least there'd be a little bit of benefit of the doubt involved in that scenario. But what we're talking about here is literally concealing it within the child's braid. Some of you at this point might even argue, well, what's the difference between that, yeah, and having Find My Phone on your child's phone? Yeah, and in theory, you could use it for the same purposes of tracking and surveilling where people are, the comings and goings. All right, I get it, cool. But the reality of the situation is, your child probably doesn't have a phone. I mean, the child in question, let me clear up this scenario, was clearly somebody that was too young to have a handset. Do you know what I mean? So I know there are co-parents out there that, you know, whoever pays the phone bill or whoever bought the phone, or for whatever reason, they've put Find My Phone on the handset. You know what kids are like. Get to a certain age, they get kind of forgetful, and one minute they're leaving it on the school bus, next minute they're leaving it in the car, they left it at the mate's house. You're constantly trying to find the phone or the house keys or something. I get that. This though is a whole new level of diabolical as far as I'm concerned. From personal experience, what I learned is when I used to take my kids out, they'd probably get interrogated when they got back as to who there was around, where they've been, what they've seen. And it wouldn't necessarily be questions that are direct, it will always be an indirect kind of thing. You know what I mean? To kind of pick out what information, what new updates can be retrieved from these passive conversations with my child once my child had been around me and spent some time with me. And, you know, I get that. But this AirTag thing, I'm glad it didn't exist in my day. Shit. Real talk. I kind of feel like if I was the father in that scenario, that was put there definitely with the intention of, at the very least, of creating a greater divide between me and the child. Because think about it rationally. As a father, yeah, more time, not in all instances, but in most, the child probably spends the lion's share of their time with the other parent. Yeah. So that small slither of the week that you get to spend time with your child, it's supposed to be about just pure enjoyment, bonding time of you and the kid. It shouldn't be used as a surveillance opportunity by the co-parent to be trying to track, your comings and goings, where you've been, what you're doing. All right, it's an unintrusive way, but it's still an invasion. I'd have a problem with that. And if I discovered something like that, I feel like that would cause problems the next time I'm supposed to spend time with my child. At the very least, it's going to make me less inclined to want to do anything that is personal to me. I don't want to be giving out any breadcrumbs. And that's what the AirTag was. It's pretty much a Hansel and Gretel scenario, as far as I'm concerned. You might see it different. Some of you may argue that, I only seen a small slither of the video and I don't know the greater context. And I agree, I don't know the greater context. But like I said, I'm assuming that if the co-parent is that much of a risk that you have to AirTag your child, should the child be with the co-parent in the first place? And I know I sound like I'm trying to stop, but something's fundamentally not right, and I don't feel like the AirTag's there to protect the child. I feel like it's more to intrude upon the co-parent and where they, all right, again, personal experience. I'll tell you straight, if I split up with somebody and we have a child together, as far as I'm concerned, you're living your life, I'm living mine. You don't need to know the ins and outs of anything. Do you get me? All you need to know, or all you should know at this point in time, is there should be no issues with the child because the child is with me, regardless of whatever issues you may have with me. Do you get what I'm saying? So, unless it's one of them ones where you're trying to see whether or not, and I know some men do it, grab their kid and bring them over to grandma's house, and that's pretty much it for the weekend, and dad's off doing what he's doing and grandma's left holding the proverbial baby bait sort of thing. Even then, still no reason for the AirTag. There isn't. Even under those circumstances, there should be some form of conversation, some form of mutual understanding that takes place that, that time is for you and your child to be bonding. It's, family's all well and good, and yes, they should also have access to the child. However, that time is supposed to be daddy and daughter or daddy and son time, not just take child from point A, drop them off at point B, and that's not that shouldn't be the level of parenting that you're on. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a choice, I guess, but it's not something that I totally agree with. So back to this AirTag. Maybe parent A has decided that there are certain elements that parent B is around that the child shouldn't be around. Okay, I get that. Maybe the ex's new partner isn't somebody that you believe the child should be around. And you just sound like a bitter motherfucker if you're saying, like, I don't want him around this person, unless there's a very good bloody reason. And in some instances, I'll tell you straight, there are. Do you know what I'm saying? Some people shouldn't be around anybody's fucking kids, point blank, period. But if your co-parent is stupid enough to feel like that's a good idea, it might put you in the AirTag zone. And I get it, but you really do have to wonder what you're becoming if that's the extreme you're going to. I'd rather not let my kid be around a person, especially if I can justify it without being a selfish and bitter cunt, because at the end of the day, it's not about my personal thoughts and feelings about the ex or the co-parent. It should be, the priority should be what's in the best interest of the child. I can't see how putting the equivalent of a microchip like you do your cat or a GPRS tracker on your dog could be viewed as the same as putting an AirTag on your kid. However, if there's only one scenario I personally can think of where that would be acceptable. My issue isn't so much the fact that the child had an AirTag on their person. My issue is where it was put. Like I said, that was placed within a braid, it was concealed. So there's a very good chance that, you know what, if you don't, I don't know, if you've got a daughter, yeah, and you picked her up to go out, more time, mum's already prepared her, got her ready for, you to turn up and take her. So her hair will already be done. So in theory, there'd be no reason for you to be messing with your daughter's hair. That was concealed. And it was concealed with an intention. I feel like the only scenario that would have worked for me is, say for example, I was going to take my child to like an amusement park, Drayton Manor, Alton Towers, that kind of thing. And the child is of age where, they don't have a phone and they should be with you 24/7 and you shouldn't blink and you should be holding their hand and etc, etc. However, there's a risk, maybe that child has SEN needs or something like that, where there's a possibility that they will run off and endanger themselves. Under those circumstances, I could understand the AirTag, but I'd also expect a conversation to go with it that makes me aware that it's there. Like I said, the video that kind of prompted this video is just a small snippet of a situation that doesn't really explain the whole thing. I just want to know what you guys actually think about the scenario, because I know that would cause issues for me personally. And it's not that I'm doing anything that I have to worry about a co-parent finding out about. I wouldn't expose my child to anything that is precarious to begin with. And some people would and not see the dangers in that. Cool, we're all different. But I wouldn't want the intrusion in my personal life, and my time that I get to spend with my child, I believe, is personal. It's where, unfiltered, I get to spend time with my child. Now, if you can think of a scenario where it's acceptable to conceal an AirTag on a child because they're going out with a co-parent, please put it in the comment section. In fact, if you've got any thoughts on this scenario whatsoever, message, let me know what you think and why. I'm baffled by this, so I'm trying to find justification. And like I said, I can only think of one scenario. There might be a million others, and I'm just looking at it through my own trauma and experiences and thinking, you know what, nah, wrong, totally wrong. Educate me, people. Let me know why this could potentially be something that should have taken place. Stop recording.